let me start off.
Yeah.
I want to say, I'm going to give two points here, and I want to use an example maybe outside of disability. The first thing I want to say is that, people with disability, when they come into the work environment, often have to prove themselves. There seems to be a higher benchmark place for them, because people seem to think, okay, he or she is disabled, they probably can't cut it, So they seem to have to push harder for this. This is kind of conception. Of course, there's a lot of fear as well. Can we handle them? Would they have a meltdown and stuff like that? Huh? But the second thing is that we're not prepared to offer what is a term that's very important, which is reasonable accommodation. Let me describe reasonable accommodation for you using an example. Now, as a pediatrician, I ran two large departments. One was a pediatric department, one was a research department. And in my pediatric department, of course, I have ladies, some of them who get pregnant, have children. And they might call me up at 7 in the morning and say, I can't come to work today, my child's really sick. Then I would say, yes, definitely, you don't come, you take emergency leave today and stay at home. And then my single male or female colleague would say, Amar, you're being biased. How come they can do this? But that's reasonable accommodation. Come on, we are a pediatric department. If we don't support children, what else are we doing? Huh? So to me, that was just normal, reasonable accommodations. If you want to start a service, the first thing to do is listen. Listen to the people with disability and their care partners, that means their parents, and listen to them and see what they are looking for. Quite often they are looking for something quite different from what you may be thinking about. And they have fears and concerns that we need to address as well. The other word I'd like to pick up from there is something called universal design. You need to actually design your environment so that it is friendly to a person with disability. This cuts both ways. It helps the work employee, but it also helps the clientele who's coming to your service.
So we just started off by, same as other FMB does. We start by working menial jobs like just cleaning tasks, or just at the back of the house, just trying to observe and see how we can do better. And after 2 years, 3 years, then we realized that we hired more than 20 deaf people. None of them stayed with us. We only left 2 deaf partners that stayed with us after 2 to 3 years of the whole trial. And we actually asked them, have a conversation with them and ask that, what do you want to achieve, while working at Starbucks? What do you want to do? And I remember Aizat, he was telling me that, his dream, one day he wants to become a store manager. He wants to learn about coffee. He wants to make beverages. He wants to, when he's old, when he retires, he wants to open his own F&B business. And that really, really sparks the whole idea of signing store. If we want to do that, for our deaf partners like Aizat and Lynn, we realized that we need a store for them to grow, for us to train them to achieve that. So to really sum up, being empathetic, understanding them more, not focusing on their disability, focusing on what they can do, on the ability, it's very important.
Like Dr. Amar addressed that a lot of people that feel very scared. Hey, what's going to happen if I hired them? Suddenly they just a meltdown. Yeah. So what we have done is, when we put our young adults into employment, we always, in the beginning, for the first month, we goes together to work with our young adults. We key in, they will punch into work. We also follows and see, and we sit at the back in the workforce, so that the so-called normal workers, they feel comfortable. Oh, anything happens, ada cikgu dia dekat belakang, So after that, we phase out. That's how we managed to put a lot of the with mild autistic young adults into employment. I think with like a job coach to be with them until they figure out, that will be very, very great, because if we were to go to a new place, we also feel very scared. We don't know how to approach people, yeah, and what's more with disabilities. But all this needs a lot of networking with them, a lot of convincing with the company that you work with, because if not, they always feel that orang kurang upaya, the kurang, so many kurang, yeah, with a lot of negativism on there. They cannot do this, oh, must be orang kurang upaya. They cannot, they don't communicate, oh, orang kurang upaya. Yeah, but they don't look at the abilities and the opportunities that how they want to work in closing the gap.
It's really a step-by-step journey of achieving small goals every year to actually achieve our bigger mission. So I guess for that, that's when we went like to our management team, for example, by showing them this long-term plan, it actually also gives them confidence to actually invest in the plan that that I've planned, and they see that the long-term goal, it's not just that, it's not just like, oh, okay, we launch a store and that's it. It's like, that's it, but it's really involving them to show them progress yearly on how this project will give a big impact in the long run.